to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Election Day, and we have the governor of New Jersey on, Governor Phil Murphy. What's happening, sir?
Hey, guys, good to be with you. Congrats to Laura and her great news, and great to be with you guys.
So here we are. I want to first commend you and the whole Jersey squad, your team, on how you guys handled early voting. It seemed like it went mostly phenomenal. Every registered voter, I believe, got a ballot mailed right to their house. Is that how it went?
That's correct, Ebro. So everybody got a ballot. You had 5 choices. Mail it in, drop it in a secure box, and we had almost 300 of them around the state. Hand it to your county clerk in your county. Show up today on Election Day and hand it to a poll worker. If you don't like any of that, vote in person on a paper ballot. And we have had huge turnout with very few issues, always some stuff at the edges. But as I speak to you, we're starting Election Day with plus or minus the entire 2016 vote already it returned to our county clerk. Pretty incredible.
So Governor, what do you expect for today on Election Day? How many more votes do you think you'll get in person today?
It's a good question. We've been wargaming at Rosenberg. I think it's 500,000, maybe as high as 1 million. I think 1 million would be at the upper end, but that's a pure guess. You've got enormous amount of enthusiasm, and we're seeing that in evidenced in many ways, but certainly the vote that's come in is one of the prime data points that we're looking at.
Now, Governor Murphy, you ran on legalization of marijuana for the state of New Jersey. That was one of your things, and you have yet to get it across the line, but it is on the back of the ballot. What are some early for the Jersey ballot? What are some early indicators and the energy around people voting in favor of some sort of legalization for the state of New Jersey?
You're right on all counts, Ebro, and you and I have talked about it over the past several years. I don't have any insight into the ballots. We allowed county clerks to begin counting them a week ago Saturday, but the penalties for disclosing what's on those ballots are very high. Yeah. But the public polling continues to be overwhelmingly in favor. I'm highly confident that today we will achieve a great milestone, and it is overwhelmingly a step toward, at long last, social justice. We inherited, when I came into office, the widest white, non-white gap of persons incarcerated in America, and the overwhelming reason was low-end drug crime. And please God, we will finally wrestle this to the ground. It's taken longer than I wanted, but I believe we'll get there when we have the results from today.
And so it will be a bill. I'm not sure. I know there's several bills on the floor, but all of them contain something with regard to expungement of low-level marijuana offenses.
Correct. I mean, one of the principles we had from day one was you can't do something prospectively that you're not willing to do retroactively. There still needs to be, assuming it passes the referendum today, there still needs to be what they call enabling legislation. So that's still being baked, no pun intended. But when I'm highly confident.
Yo, wait, time out. You can't just go. This
isn't his first rodeo. This is his first rodeo.
That was well done, man.
Yeah. So I got to tell you that came out. I will truth be told, that was not intentional, but I'll take it. It's like the 3-pointer that banks in the basket. I'll take it, but that's not what I intended. It went in.
Let's talk COVID for a second, Governor Murphy. The first thing we started hearing a few weeks ago was about some spikes in New Jersey again. So as we sit here on Election Day, where do the COVID numbers, hospitalizations, deaths, et cetera, stand with your state?
Yeah, Rosenberg, they're not good. I mean, they're not as bad as they were in the spring when we got clobbered and have paid a huge toll. There are a lot of good things since the spring. In other words, the medical profession knows a lot more. We have a lot more capacity. The demographics of who's getting infected. We don't want anyone to get infected, but it's younger, so less of a target on our seniors. But we're now 2 weeks plus of 4-digit positive cases each day. over 1,000 folks in the hospital, and several deaths, if not double-digit deaths, we're reporting every day. And so we're back. We're in the fight. America and the world are as well. By the way, we did enter this surge, as Dr. Tony Fauci, who's been a great ally of ours, reminded me a couple of weeks ago. We entered this surge in strong shape in New Jersey. That's a good thing, but that doesn't mean we're not paying a price right now.
The COVID situation. How have you in your office, or whatever, law enforcement, or talk to us about implementing some sort of repercussions for individuals that are in complete denial? Like, where is that, and how is it going managing that?
It's gotten harder, to be honest with you, Ebro, and I think it's gotten harder for really two reasons. And we, by the way, enforce compliance aggressively up and down the state. But, and here are the two buts, there's an enormous amount of fatigue. You guys must see that in New York. It's around the country. People are sick and tired of this thing. I don't blame them, but that's exactly what the virus wants us to do, to let our guard down. And secondly, a lot of the transmission, as far as we can tell, is behind closed doors in private settings, which is why I'm concerned, and we've been sort of speaking out about the holidays coming up. We can't have a regular holiday season. It's got to be scaled down, only with the folks who have been living inside your bubble with you. And so for both of those reasons, it's hard to enforce compliance when it's going on in your living room, and people are sick and tired of the thing. We just got to appeal to folks to stay strong and do the right thing.
Now, there's certain around New Jersey, Jersey has a lot of different pockets. You got conservative pockets and the pro-Trump pockets who are anti-maskers as well, and then you have other pockets.
And they're anti-Murphy too, Ebro. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, they're anti-Murphy and all of that. But have you seen that? Like, if you don't have a local municipality support, how are you able to keep people safe?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we have seen some of that, particularly in the summer. And particularly before we opened up indoor dining. We're still at a low capacity on indoor dining. We're at a low capacity on gyms. There were some kind of infamous cases of both gyms and restaurants that were completely non-compliant, and they were dealt with. That's not to say that we caught everybody, but local law enforcement, for the most part, in some cases the state police, in some cases the county prosecutors, dealt with these folks. They paid a price for it, and they got into line. And again, we're not trying to be tough guys. We're just trying to plead with folks. This virus dictates the terms, not us. So we got to play by the rules as best we can to keep everybody safe.
Well, this is about keeping people alive. Like, this is about life and death. This isn't a game. People.
This is about life and death. This is not a political stunt.
Yeah, no, this is life and death.
Well, and to that end, Governor, what is the furthest you think you'd go? If we continue to see these numbers where they are, and obviously this is something that the right loves to throw at people like yourself, Democratic governors, they want to shut everything down. Obviously, that's not what you want. But what do you think is the furthest you'd go if you had to? Would have to have a shutdown on the table. I don't see it. Right now. I talk about surgical versus blunt instrument. Blunt instrument would be a step that would apply to everybody. Surgical would be what we've done, for instance, in Lakewood, what we're doing in Newark, working with community leaders, surging, testing, tracing, enforcement, our bullhorn. That seems to have worked in Lakewood. Please God, it will work in Newark. That's our preferred approach. If we had to, we'd do some of the steps we took in the spring. I, please God, don't want to. In-school transmissions, by the way, are so far, I'm knocking on wood, guys, very limited. That's a good sign. That's not to say we're not concerned about any cases that may come from that. But in-school transmissions, the last update we had on our dashboard was end of the day on Thursday. We had 28 cases of in-school transmission in buildings, and we have over 3,000 school buildings. Wow. That's a good data point. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Well, listen, we appreciate you checking in this morning. Any word for the voters out there? Please. I would love to point out, too, for the voters, people forget Governor Murphy's background. You were like a Wall Street guy before this job, right? You're a rich guy. How did you become this liberal and rich at the same time?
Listen, I grew up I think we'd call it today working poor outside of Boston. And I'm a Boston liberal, Irish Catholic Democrat from the moment I came into this world, and I never lost that, whether it was through a business career or politics, or I was a U.S. ambassador in Germany. I am who I've always been. And I think to your question about what message, don't let the other side intimidate you. Don't be fooled by these myths. The guys on the other side want to decrease voter turnout. Our job is to expand democracy. I think we've done a really good job of that in New Jersey, and that includes today. So my message would be show up and either hand your ballot in or vote in person on a paper ballot, but exercise your right to vote.
Governor Murphy, do you see a day where we go back to election day, or will it from here on out always be election season?
I think it's, Ebro, to be determined. I think we have to see how today goes and how the count goes. But boy, I'll tell you, so far, one guy's opinion, I like what we see here.
Yeah, me too.
So I think we may have, not just in New Jersey, I think the reality here may have changed permanently in one form or another in terms of how we vote in the country.
There it is. Governor Phil Murphy,
Thank you,
for
Governor.
your time today. Everybody get out there and vote. Vote pro-marijuana,
You betcha. Thanks,
man. Pro-marijuana, man.
Amen. And give Laura my best and congratulations to her. Thanks, guys.
We will.
Thank you very much.
Governor.